Next email's from Jazzy. Uh, Evening casters, I'm curious if you had any tips or tricks to play AD. I'm leaving top because the champion pool is full of unfun characters to play against. The new items are just a straw that broke the camel's back. So I'm going to the bot lane. I used to play support, but it seems like everyone mains support these days. I thought, what roles do people not like playing? So I settled for AD carry. I chose AD because of how many of the, quote, marksmen are viable in each role, such as Quinn and Vayne for top, Tristan and Lucian for mid, Graves and Kindred for jungle, and even Ashe and Senna for support. Anyway, I'm finding it to be a completely different rodeo from anything I've played before. Top lane taught me wave management, but that's less prevalent in a lane where there are two people who can usually clear the wave relatively easily, or where your support can mess it up. I've taken to just farming, practicing trading a lot, kiting, and making sure I continue farming using Saber's mid-game farming tips. What do you guys think are some things every AD carry should know or should prioritize? The question extends to Nick in particular, since he's the support main of the group. As a support, do you find yourself saying, I wish my AD carry would X? And if so, what is that? I hear you pretty much main Leona. Do you change your pick if it's better for your AD carry? I'm really liking Ashe because of her utility, but that's probably just the tank player in me still wanting to be a tank. Do you think having a wide variety of AD carries is important so I can pick to fill in my team's weaknesses or to counter the enemy's team? Or do you think mythics give me enough variety and to just play one? Anything else anyone can contribute to a budding AD carry main would be greatly appreciated, Jazzy. Ooh, okay, so there's a lot here.
Yeah.
These characters that you listed for each role, but despite falling in on the marksman role, are different from each other. So I wouldn't view them through the lens of their marksmen, so they play similarly. But that's kind of a good mindset to have, is I know how to play a ranged character who deals damage in bot lane, so I can play it in the top lane.
I have a lot of strong opinions about AD carry.
Sure, go ahead. I'll fill in after you're done.
Yeah, I think like one thing is I would recommend when you're starting to play AD carry, queuing like a lot of games with a duo support if you can. Mostly because you're going to not know what you're fucking up. You're not going to know what your support's fucking up. It's always going to feel like you're on different like waves lengths. At least if you're playing with someone, you can understand when you guys as a duo fuck something up rather than like if it's your fault or your support's fault. Like being on the same page and understanding how like lanes play and not just having lanes get like torpedoed because of like a miscommunication is going to help your actual learning experience like tenfold. I think that's honestly like a good place to start. I know like obviously finding a duo isn't the easiest thing, but oh my fucking god, playing with someone who you can talk to in a duo lane is so fucking great. That being said, I do think for actual solo queue, I think playing solo AD carry bottom is absolutely fine. It's just you have to be able to play whatever style your teammate wants to play, right? If you have a Leona who wants to go in every second, you probably should be trying to pick an AD carry that can do that, or at least playing a playstyle that can follow up on that, right? You can't just be playing the sit back and farm till 30 playstyle if your support's going to suicide a bunch of times. And you also can't be playing the I'm playing Draven, so I'm going to auto attack them 5 times under turret, like taking turret trades, if your support's going to be playing behind you the entire lane because you're going to get ganked and die.
Yeah, I think that's something that a lot of newer players don't really understand, is that the pace of the lane is not determined by the AD carry. The support is driving that car. You play to the style of the support, I would say. And sometimes that's going to be really unfortunate because you've got a player who is picking Leona but doesn't want to engage fights, or stands behind you, even worse. And then sometimes it's going to be bad because they want to go in too much, and you at this point do just need to farm and sit back and wait for your team to help or for you to scale or something. I think the only other like huge thing that I would realize is that I would recommend is learn level timings. It's really important, especially if you're gonna just learn one, learn level 2. Because the game can be lost. And I don't mean the lane. I mean the game can be lost if you are playing against like a Thresh or Nautilus or someone like that, and they hit 2 before you do, and you get hooked. Like the lane is over for you guys. You're just gonna run it down because they'll have a full level lead plus extra kills, all because you didn't realize that they were dinging level 2 when you weren't. And then the other thing is like if your support leaves the lane for whatever reason, if it's the right call or not, please just like don't die. That is your single most important like role. It's not to find farm, it's not to get experience from those minions. Don't die when your support is gone. The support may be making a wrong play and there's nothing you could do to stop that from happening, so your best play is to just not make that even worse.
Yeah.
There are so many times where like I'm trying to roam like mid as Leona to look for a pick, or even just like put pressure on the map. You know, mid lane is a hard matchup. If I show up, it's gonna make the enemy consider like, oh, I might still be around, so I've got to play a little bit safer, relieving some of that pressure in that lane. And even though it's not a like traditionally successful gank, you know, it helps the team in some way. But then you've just died because you wanted 2 ranged minions.
Yeah.
Like then that play is gone, and any benefit that happened is now you know, a detriment. And that happens all the time. That's the biggest thing that I complain about.
Oh, it's huge. Yeah, it happens all the time. Last little thing about champion pool. So I'm someone who thinks roles like AD carry, where it's literally like min-maxing damage, you're both playing very similar characters. You should just be playing whatever meta AD carries are like there. I'm not expecting you to learn how to play every AD carry, but you should be able to play at least one of like the 3 meta AD carries like on each patch, right? Like right now, like I don't know, Vayne's like really good, I would say. Draven's like pretty good if you can play him. I think Jhin is pretty good.
Last patch is
Ezreal's the best character in the game.
You needed to know how to play Ezreal.
Yeah, Ezreal. Like you have to ban Ezreal, or you have to be able to play him, like, or else you're like kind of throwing. And then there's been tons of like for the last couple months, Samira and Kai'Sa were like characters for. If you're not playing Kai'Sa or playing Samira, you should probably be banning them, like
banning them and pick the other.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Other than that, though, like there's a world in which I think mage supports are still like OP. Personally, I think like Ziggs, Swain, Veigar.
You said mage supports, but you mean mage carries?
Mage AD carries. Sorry, like Veigar, Swain, and Ziggs I think are some of the best AD carries in the game. Bottom, like playing mage bottoms. That being said, I don't think they're worth playing unless you're duo queuing. I really think that even though mages have been a thing bottom lane for 2, maybe 3 years now, like it's coming up on 3 years probably, right? I don't think enough supports have learned how to play with mages yet, which is crazy that role develops so slowly. But I'm talking about like even like high diamond. Like I think lots of supports only know how to play with AD carries, don't understand mage power spikes, don't understand itemization, don't understand how to play with the mid to late game. That I think unless you're duo queuing, I don't think it's worth trying to play Veigar, Swain, Ziggs, whatever. I think you're just going to lose most of those games, even though they're good picks. Yep. Like even if you're trying to complement, like, oh, my team's all AD, I'm going to play Ziggs. I think your support probably doesn't know how to play with the Ziggs, and that's going to be problematic.
Yeah, I think like Swain has been the highest win rate bot laner for at the very least the past 4 patches.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's good outside of a coordinated environment. But I mean, so Jazzy in particular asked if he should one trick Vayne, and I said yes. I think Vayne is pretty meta proof. I think she's like, she obviously goes through periods where she's better and worse, but I think for the most part she's always been like able to solo carry games based on how much damage she's outputting. So I would say one trick Vayne. And I know that's gonna perk up Aiden's ears because he loves that character.
I also think that she's probably one of the best AD carries for using any fucking AD carry mythic that she wants.
Absolutely.
So I think that's gonna also like meta proof her a little bit. So awesome.
Yep. So play Vayne.